Hey there, and welcome back to Simple Electronics. You may remember last time my voice was high and squeaky. It no longer is like that, or at least I hope not. Since then I have acquired this lovely thing that is in this bag, and you'll never guess what it is. Alright, just never, from the bright blue, which should also be a hint, anti-static electronic bag that I'm pulling it out of with tweezers is the size of a Tic Tac. Could it be, just maybe, a 7.5 watt NUBM 44 V1 laser diode from none other than China? Yes it is, my friend. So, you may be asking, Christian, what are you going to do with such a thing? Cut through plywood, of course, burn things, have fun, don't go blind. The list does go on. Ideally, we're not trying to go blind, because that would suck. I'm already kind of halfway there. Alright, so, we have this lovely little piece of kit, and I have to get a heatsink for it, because as it stands, it absolutely chomps through a whole 4.5 amps at about 3 to 4-ish volts. I think it's like 14 volts input. Alright, it's freaking nuts. Sorry, not 14 volts. Like 14 power amps. So it's like, it's a little dumb. Anyway, so as it stands, we have that super cool, awesome, amazing laser diode of science, as Bill Nye probably would say. Alright, and we need a project for it. So what I want to do is make some kind of, like, handheld device. And you may be thinking, Christian, that sounds illegal, and that is because it is, sort of. The limitations with lasers and handheld devices is that you're not allowed to point them up, like never at the sky, because if you down a plane, as you might guess, that is kind of sort of a federal crime. So, yeah, we're not going to do that. But what we are going to do is we're going to make a, they have fingerprint sensor modules that you can buy on eBay. You might have seen them from the funny videos of that one guy and his roommate with his random contraption that he builds, that are just completely uncalled for, but funny nonetheless. I forget what the channel name is called. I probably sound really stupid saying that right now, but get over it. So, we have the laser diode, and we need a heatsink, but then also we need it to not injure people. In order to do so, in order to prevent that from happening, because injuries are not good, we need to come up with some kind of safety interlock. So it says, the government and the law, because lasers. So basically it needs to be such that I am the only one, unless I give someone else permission, that can operate the laser. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get one of those cheap fingerprint sensors. Alright, and I'm going to put my fingerprint, and literally just my fingerprint, into said sensor. So you will not be able to turn on the laser unless that fingerprint reader is saying, oh yeah, that's good, that's Christian, alright? Because otherwise that would be kind of bad. We don't want some random child, or some random person walking into the basement being like, ooh, cool laser gun, and being blinded from the spot on the wall. That would be less than ideal, to say the least. So, considering that can punch through a 1/4 inch of plywood like butter, that would be not great to point at your face, or for that matter, have your eyes open while it is on. So we're just not. We're going to make it a nice beam dump and stuff, and we're going to make a nice little test setup that is, say about 1 foot long on a wood board probably, and just strap all the goodies and electronics to it with LM317 based voltage and current regulator, or possibly get like a chip that can do that. The only caveat being that if you have a voltage regulator and you feed that into a current regulator, the current regulator does its job because it is the same chip. It does its job by basically limiting the voltage until the current's where it's supposed to be. So what I could do is pump a really high voltage into the current regulator. Put like a voltage regulator first, and it'll be a volt or so higher, and then that current regulator will have enough leeway to bring that voltage down to a safe level before feeding it to the laser diode, or we risk cooking it. And this was $15, which isn't bad, but it took 2 months to get here. which is bad, and I don't want to wait that long because that sucks. So I do have some ideas for some electronics projects regarding the ESP32 chip recommended by a lovely commenter that is still on my channel, which is absolutely great. I love when y'all comment. Do that more often, please. I love hearing what y'all think. I've got so I have these radio projects that I want to do also, but we'll talk about the ESP32. So I was originally going to do this kind of nonsense project that I had with an Arduino board, because I already know how to program one of those, and by program I mean like sort of tell it what to do, kind of. You may remember the oscilloscope, its entire job is to graph voltage versus time, so where voltage, or amplitude rather, is on the y-axis and time is on the x-axis. Those can be adjusted on the scope, so the grid is such where you can have like different volts per division, so vertically, or you can have different amounts of seconds per division, which is for roll mode primarily. So I'll show you how this works on the scope again, because it's been a little bit since I've showed off the scope. So we're going to show off the scope. It's not a great way to show you this. Hold on. Alright, so I've got to steal the power cord from the other thing. And they say don't do that, because I'm stealing my power cord from something that is not Siglet branded, so they're probably not going to be too happy if something breaks with my scope, and they might not want to fix it. That is a risk I'm willing to take, because as an electronics enthusiast, I can fix it myself, most likely, assuming they're not proprietary. And if they are, then I'll send it to someone who doesn't care. Because, you know, America, I have right to repair. Then against a Chinese company, so that, you know, they'll probably do anything, just, you know, forget I said anything. The feet on this oscilloscope make a terrible noise when you open them. They're fine closing, but it's just this god-awful noise. Like, it just, sound, it sucks, man. It's like, it feels like you're breaking it. I don't like how it feels, like, at all. And I've grown to dislike that about this oscilloscope. So I have, excuse me, I'm still a little bit visually impaired. I gotta get kind of close to my scope. I'm sorry. Here we go. Watch this. So this is the oscilloscope screen, alright? This is for your vertical, which is your volts per division. This is for horizontal, which is time for division. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn roll mode off, go into auto, and I'm going to set the trigger to be here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slow this down. I'm going to make this a little bigger, so right now it's showing a volt per division. So we can see that it is taking up approximately 3-ish volts or so. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this, we're going to spread it out some. So now you can have 200 microseconds per division, or you can have 10 milliseconds, or 50 milliseconds, or 100 seconds. It's 20, 5, 2, 1. Because, as soon as I do this, alright, I'm going to unstop this. Do it again. Hold on. So as acquiring, hold on. This would be that kind of part. Alright, so we're going to put, there we go. It has acquired. I'm going to move this bench, because frickin' 15 of my knees hurt. So, excuse my pampered chair user self, but, I'm going to scoot that down a little ways, so that's kind of in the middle so you can see it better. So that's 1 second per division. And because it's 1 second per division, it has to literally count seconds across the entire width of the screen to have this kind of like display here, and then I can stop the scope, and then I'm gonna click this, so now I can analyze this. Now that's a very, very thin sliver, you may notice, and that looks nothing like a square wave. So we're gonna use our horizontal control, and oh my god, look at that. That kind of looks like a square wave. So we're gonna pull this down a little, just a touch. So you can see now we can zoom in on these tiny little pieces and see that you can basically see like the noise generated from that whatever switching method is putting out that test signal. But the point of this little demonstration here is to basically show you how this kind of works, where I can stretch it out with the time, or I can make it short with the voltage per division. And what this is basically going to allow me to do is flip around what this is supposed to do, and instead of measuring a signal, I'm going to use the measurement of a signal to define images. So I'm going to basically program the SB32 if I can figure that out, and if not, I'll use an Arduino Nano or a Pro Mini, or basically just whatever is the cheapest, because, you know, I gotta save my monies for the more expensive projects. And then I'll basically put together a like a little kind of radio. Sorry, not radio. God, what am I talking about? I'm gonna program the analog out pins, and this will allow me to essentially use it as like a graph. Look, I'm gonna graph out the images I want by using delay functions to create things, or like analog sweep functions to put like different curves and stuff, and I will use 4 output pins, so that way I can use all 4 probes and make more complex things that don't need to be drawn with a single trace, because that would get difficult really fast, because then you wouldn't be able to make something. So I could, you know, I suck at drawing as it is, but I think I could graph something. Alright, so I could probably draw like a tree or something, and it'll look pixelated as all heck, but, you know, it'll be okay. And the thing is timing, because I might have to use like the while loop to have a bunch of things going at once, because I like really suck at programming. I don't really know how to do much else. But as it stands, yeah, this is basically the thing. So I'm gonna get it to do drawings on my oscilloscope with the traces, because I can. I don't know, man, it's funny. So I'll turn that off. Oh, there we go. So that's shutting off. There we go. And the desk over there. And you may notice you have a turntable now, Christian. And you're like, yeah, I do. And it's so cool because I have all this classical music. And you may notice it's on your computer desk. Why is that? Because I'm digitally recording all my stuff. And then when I'm done, I'm going to probably make a separate Google Drive. Maybe. I'm not, don't quote me on this. I'll put it in the comments if I do it. And I'll record all this stuff, and I'll put it in a Google Drive. So basically only the people who subscribe to my channel, alright, and know that it exists and watch my videos and stuff, will have basically unlimited access to all the classical or Frederick Fennell marches that you could possibly want. It's like hours of music, alright? It's good. I'm probably going to be listening to it in the car because, you know, no ads, no buffering, no Wi-Fi required. It's just perfect as it gets, man. These are film canisters because I'm also into film photography now. That spawned from what's in this bag, which is this old Canon. So I've got this old EOS Rebel G, and you'll notice, like, yo, there's no screen. And you're right, but you do have this this like OVF, or optical viewfinder, so you can like look through there. And I'll turn this on so you can see this. This is neat. Hold on. So I'll put it in manual mode. Alright, so then you can put your eye up to that. And you can see that. And so you see that little target there in the middle? So that little target there in the middle's job is, those are your 3 autofocus points, and that ring is for metering. So I can half press, and it's going to do the stuff. And it brings up this little display, and right now the meter's telling me I'm overexposed. So I can click it down. Alright, and oh crap. Focus. So right now it's saying I'm at I'm at like a 1/10 of a second, 1/8, 1/6, 1/4, 1/3, half, 1/7. That's a 1 second, 2 seconds, 1.5, 2 seconds, 3, 4, 5, 6. You see the point. Alright, and it's showing me how overexposed it is on the meter, which is on the far right. And then it shows you your autofocus points, and then that 5.6 there is your aperture value. And you can see all that through the viewfinder, but then also if you're like me and it's like too dang bright outside because you can't see, it also shows you right here, so you can turn this on and you can do all this stuff. Or you can throw it into aperture priority, which is that AV mode, so aperture value. So you tell it the aperture, and it'll do whatever it takes to the shutter speed to keep that meter centered for you. So no matter what I point at, if it's like a bright window or whatever else, that meter's not going to move. So it just stays put the entire time. And the TV, which is time value or shutter speed, is essentially the same thing. I have no clue what any of those other things do, but I only use those first 3 modes. So I'm going to turn that off now. But there we go. And yeah, program is basically full auto, which turns it into essentially a cell phone camera, but that's no good. So anyway, it's where the turntable usually sits. I don't know how many of y'all saw the half-solved Rubik's Cube, or even knew that I could solve it. I can do that, apparently. And I found this one Rubik's Cube that had different enough colors. I'm colorblind, by the way, for those of y'all that forgot. I found a Rubik's Cube with different enough green and yellow where I can actually tell the difference. So on one of the other takes, I was kind of solving this, and that distracted me a little bit. So I'm going to do it again. Because I'm almost done. It's like I'm so close. So I'm going to I'll show you how I finish this off at the end. I also wanted to say that I would like to turn this into kind of an unsuspecting everything type channel, where it's like, yeah, there will be like the electronics is like said in the name, because that's kind of why we're all here. But at the same time, I want to have like just random skills that I pick up as I go, and then I want to share those with you. Like if I do any woodworker stuff, which I probably won't, but if I did, then I can share that with you. Anything music related, like audio equipment. I might even make a video about how to solve a Rubik's Cube, since I can do that now. Lots of skills can be had. I might do some photography videos for those who are interested. And then at some point I may even live stream me developing some film. So if I ever did do that, I would I'll try to let y'all know that's going on. So if anyone's interested, y'all can join me at some while I develop my film and stuff. I almost wanted to live stream the past. I have some decent film. I don't know who recognizes any of this, but this is Ilford HP5, which seems to be the gold standard for black and white photography, because it seems to also be the only thing you can find chemicals for these days. Because I don't like sending my stuff to a lab, because they don't develop the way I like it. They're gonna send it through a machine, and it's just like, I'm good. Plus, it costs like the money for shipping and the money for the chemicals and actually paying for development. It costs more to get it completed than the actual roll of film cost, and that's a no-no for me. Like, your disposables should not cost additional money to use. I already have to pay to use this camera, so it's like I want to be able to develop stuff myself, so that's not really a problem. So I've done stuff like this, and then I'll go get one of the 5 rolls I've shot. So I number them. This is roll number 4. The star means I've already developed it, and there's no canister in here. So it looks a little bit empty right now, but that's because I've rolled up the negatives and put them on the side there. And technically, yes, I'm supposed to be using gloves, but my hands are clean, so it's okay. So you can see, this isn't roll number 4. Why is this in here? What happened to my photos? Oh, here we go. There wasn't too much, but these are all negatives, so I don't know if you can see that, but that's pictures of my oscilloscope, because I tried to do astrophotography on this roll, but as you can see, that didn't work too well. So I just took some photos of my oscilloscope and record player at various angles, and you can see all the stuff in there, so that's pretty neat. Never said I was a good photographer, but I do know what I'm doing. The difference between a good photographer and a bad photographer, I think, is basically just knowing what is worth taking a photo of, and also your composition is important. And also knowing not to shoot and point and shoot, man. Just don't do that. Manual photography is not difficult, like, at all. Google up, it's called the exposure triangle. It basically just shows on a triangle, kind of like the Ohm's law triangle, sort of, but it's on the edges. How shutter speed, aperture value, which is like the iris of the lens, and then also the, what was the other thing? Oh, an ISO, which could be your film, or if you're on a digital camera, you can actually change that. This was 400 ISO film. So basically every doubling of the ISO number is a doubling in the sensitivity, or that also makes up what's called a stop. For apertures, for aperture values, it moves up like the last value times the square root of 2, which gives you the next value up. Don't ask me how to find half stops, I have no clue. But it's not hard to figure out where you are on the triangle and figure out how everything works together to get an exposure. If you don't like light meters for some reason, you can Google up what's called the Sunny 16 rule, which basically lets you just guesstimate pretty accurately. But what I'm really saving up for right now is a Canon 70D. It is a semi-professional model camera from 2016 that has a 20 megapixel sensor, automatic leveling, so you can kind of like see on the back screen with the info button. You can see how level it is if it's on a tripod or something. So it like has this little line, kind of looks like the horizon monitor on like a plane. So that shows you your level. It has all of the settings on the back. You have live view mode, a fully articulating screen, the EF mount, which has like thousands of lenses Canon made. A bunch of second-party people make stuff for the EF mount. It's super cheap now because, it's cheap for a camera. You can go on Amazon and get like a 50D for $800, which is like stupid, because that's like significantly crappier than the 70D. And if you get it like in excellent used condition, like off MPB or something, they'll say excellent used. It basically means it's barely been touched. But it's, you can tell that it's slightly been used because people set it down and you can see light scuffing. But that's about the only difference it makes, and they're gonna factory reset it for you, so it's not like you have some other random dude's photos, because they also took their SD card with them. So you basically get what is essentially a new camera minus the OG packaging, but it comes with all the other goodies like the charger, the battery, and sometimes even a lens. And you can get really good photos out of it, because that 20 megapixel sensor is still almost double what is on your phone camera. And in addition to not having what is essentially a Tic Tac as a lens, you have something that feels substantial, that also has a lot better definition and sharpness and detail. You need you a good camera, but that's what I'm trying to get. I want a 70D. It's a digital camera instead of film, so then I ain't gotta pay to use it either. I'm gonna get some of the SanDisk Extreme cards that do like 105 megabytes a second transfer speed, so I can take advantage of the full 7 frames per second continuous shooting. I'm not even kidding, a DSLR camera, so it's not like mirrorless where it can do that easily. It's like 7 frames per second is no joke for like a DSLR. That's like really impressive actually, because it's got that big mirror in the way, so it's got to like flip that mirror out of the way, open the shutter, close the shutter, and drop the mirror again so you can still see through the viewfinder. It's an amazing piece of technology by itself. It's no longer the weird titanium alloy they used for the 50D, but it's a very substantial, like, kind of polymer. It's not quite a plastic. I mean, it is, but like, it's not a thermoplastic, so it doesn't feel cheap like it doesn't feel cheap like the other cameras in the series, or like a mirrorless. I'm not a real fan of mirrorless. I mean, I'm sure some of them are good, but they're just too small. A good DSLR is going to feel good in the hands. So I guess that's like sort of electronics related, but there's that. That laser project's going to be fun. I'm going to attempt to do some kind of thing with the SB32 and the scope. That's just to prove that I can program it more or less. But then I want to try to do something a little more exciting. If y'all have anything that you would like to see programmed, I'm going to see if I've got the time, or the skill for that matter, to attempt to get that going for you guys, because, 53 subscribers now and thousands of views on my videos and stuff. It's like, I really can't thank y'all enough, so it's, thank y'all for stopping by. If you have any other questions, ask me in the comments. I will get to them when I can. I do not get notifications, but I do occasionally look. So, yeah, just let me know underneath this video. And if any of y'all are interested in the other stuff, like the photography side of things, music, I may record my vinyl collection and put it in like a Google Drive so y'all can listen to it. It's mostly, it's kind of just like random, like this record that you saw on the turntable is, it's the Circus Screamers from Frederick Fennell and the Eastman Wind Ensemble. It's a collection of circus marches recorded in, I forget where, hold on, it's on the back of the jacket, just a second. Sit. Where'd they put it? I don't know, but it's a Mercury Living Presence record. It's this right here if you want it. I got mine for like $7 on eBay. If you're paying more than like $30 for that record, I think you're getting scammed. Like, I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I think you got scammed. Like, that was $7 including shipping. That record cost me a whole $4, like, by itself, and then there was $3 shipping because it had to be in that weird flat pack envelope with the cardboard so it doesn't bend or break. So there's that. Yeah, I think that's everything. So if y'all are interested in any of the before mentioned stuff, or if you have questions or electronics projects y'all would like to see, that'd be great. To the people who recommended the SB32 project, and also the one who wanted to see more 3D printer upgrades. That's actually in the works, because this is the start of a printer that I may or may not finish. I haven't really done anything to it in 3 months. But it is the beginning of what is supposed to be a high compact, low build volume, but also high power and very fast, fully enclosed 3D printer that takes up less than a foot of footprint on like a desk or something. So I could quite literally put it next to my table lamp. Alright, that's illuminating my record right now. And I could like super easily print stuff. Like, I could just send it over the USB cable directly from my printer over to the thing. And eventually I'm going to get that super overpriced but well worth it. Like that TFT display, and then I'm going to install the clicker screen, like the clipper screen add-on, and make the custom firmware for it. And then, I don't know, I think I'll have to make like a GitHub page for it so y'all can get all the parts list and stuff, and the, because I want y'all to be able to make this too, so it's, shoot. I forgot what I named the printer. I'll figure it out later. I think I call it the Pico or something. Anyway, So yeah, any name suggestions, that would be great. If y'all have compact printer name suggestions that aren't already taken by big manufacturers who suck and can't find good fans for the life of them, that aren't obnoxiously loud, please let me know. And just for the heck of it, I may or may not attempt to put Noctua fans in here like in a computer for the sole purpose of them being quiet and beige colored. It'd just be funny. So yeah, that is, I think that's everything. So, suggestions, your interests, projects you want, projects you liked, anything that needs to be updated you think, any project I forgot that y'all want to see more of, let me know. Yeah. Well, thank you for watching, and thank you to all 52 of my subscribers. If you're not already subscribed, don't forget to, because, you know, it doesn't cost you anything. It's free, I promise. So, thank y'all.